This video is brought to you by Soundcore. The Soundcore Space One have arrived and they are bringing flagship features to the budget headphone market. I'm here to give you a rundown of all of their features. As always, I'll leave links to all the products mentioned in this video down in the video description. So let's get into it. So as you can see right here, we've got the box, noise canceling up, crowd noise down, Space One, high-res audio wireless, high-res audio, adaptive ANC, battery life, yada, yada, yada. So let's go ahead and get these out of the box here. All right, get that out of the way. And here you have the headphones themselves. These are in the sky blue color. So let's get these out here. So you got the headphones themselves. And then right in here, we've got a little side pouch. So let's pop that open here. So we've got your usual books right here. This is your quick start guide. And I believe this is just the other warnings and such that come with it. And here we have a color matched carrying pouch with a drawstring right here. So we've got that there. And then we've also got a color matched auxiliary cable, 3.5 to 3.5, and a USB-A to USB-C charging cable. So that's pretty much it for everything that comes inside that box. So now let's jump into the headphones themselves. So first, let's start with the Bluetooth connection. So the Soundcore Space One are featuring Bluetooth 5.3 with SBC, AAC, and LDAC as their connection codecs. Now that makes them completely compatible with both Android and iOS devices in my own personal testing. There is also a 3.5mm headphone port on the left ear cup for listening via the included auxiliary cable in case you happen to run the battery all the way down, or if you prefer using a 3.5mm connection. Now, when it comes to range, I managed to get right about 40 feet or 12.1 meters in my testing. I was able to put 3 walls between the headphones and the phone that they were connected to before I started hearing any sort of dropouts or clipping. However, if you switch to LDAC, your range and coverage will be reduced noticeably, so something to keep in mind. The Space One also offer multi-point connectivity for up to 2 devices. I tested this by pairing them to a bunch of different devices, including my iPhone 14 Pro Max, my Pixel Fold, Galaxy Flip 5, iPad Pro, and my Asus Zenfone 9. Now, multi-point worked exactly as expected. When paired to my iPad and watching videos, a call can come in on my Pixel Fold and I can answer it quickly. So now let's get into latency or lag. Now, when you're watching videos, latency is minimal on both Android and iOS devices, regardless of which app you're using. Hulu, Netflix, YouTube, doesn't really matter. Now, when it comes to mobile gaming, the experience here is decent with these headphones, despite the fact that they were never designed for that purpose. They're not a gaming headset. What I mean by that is the fact that they don't have a dedicated low latency or gaming mode. So I did play a few rounds of Call of Duty Mobile to test this out, and the latency was there. It is noticeable, but it wasn't enough to be a distraction for a casual player like me. But if you are a competitive gamer or you're someone who where latency bothers you when you're playing your games, then you're probably going to want to run these via the wired 3.5mm aux cable for a lag-free experience. So let's jump over to the build quality and comfort. So right now, the Space One are available in 3 different colors: sky blue, jet black, and latte cream. Now, the build quality on the Space One is pretty much what we can expect for most headphones at this price range. Lightweight plastic aluminum construction with a seamless sliding design for the head adjustment. Nearly as light as Sony's own lightweight XM5, and the Space One come in at just 265 grams. Now, when it comes to comfort, the Space One haven't caused me any head or neck fatigue, nothing along those lines. Now, they are featuring an all-new 8-degree floating axis design that lets the ear cups adjust 8 degrees in either direction, allowing the Space One to easily conform to a wide variety of head shapes and sizes. However, there is still some moderate clamping force here, so some break-in might be needed if you have a massive head like mine. Get your mind out of the gutter, sir. Now, if you're unfamiliar with loosening up some headphones, all you got to do is find a box that's a bit wider than your own head. Then you just leave the headphones on that box whenever you take them off. And after a few days, they'll be loosened up and good to go. Overall, comfort has been pretty good in my testing and in my experience. Grip is good on these headphones as well. They didn't move around or need any sort of adjustments when I was out on my walk. So overall, very nice. Much like many other wireless headphones on the market, the ear pads here are not very breathable. They're using that faux leather material, so they will get hot if you try to use these for sports and workouts. Just something to keep in mind. So now let's move over to the controls. The Space One are using simple button controls as we would expect from Soundcore headphones. On the right ear cup, you've got a multifunction button for play, pause, answer and calls, mute and unmute the mic, and your voice assistant, as well as a volume rocker that also doubles as track control with a long press in either direction. Now on the left ear cup, you've got a multifunction button again that's for power on and off, as well as pairing. And then you've got a button for noise cancellation, transparency mode, and normal mode, but this one can be modified in the Soundcore app that can toggle the bass booster feature via a double press, if you want that. Now the buttons are tactile and easy to locate and very responsive when needed, and very easy to learn too, because there's not that many buttons there. Now the Space One also feature wear detection, which can automatically pause your music when you remove the headphones from your head, as well as start playing music when you put them back on. And you don't have to use this feature if you don't want to. It can be shut off via the app, but it is available and it does work well. Lastly, there's also a feature called Easy Chat that will lower the music and activate transparency mode quickly so you can conversate with people around you easily. Now, this can be activated by either touching and holding the left ear cup or by simply speaking. It can detect your voice quickly and activate the easy listening mode. The feature works surprisingly well, but it's one or the other, and you can customize that in the Soundcore app. Now, speaking of the Soundcore app, this app is available for both Android and iOS devices. Now, I won't be doing a full app walkthrough here because people just skip the section, and every time that I include it in a video, so I'm gonna give you the TLDR. So in the app, you get ANC and transparency controls, you get controls over the Easy Chat or Speak to Chat, you get the sound effect mode that includes the HearID for personalized sound, custom EQ presets, and a fully customizable EQ, you get the customizable controls, you get a feature called Save Volume where you can set volume limits for the headphones, and in the settings you also get firmware updates, wear detection toggles, etc. So all of that to say that you should definitely download the Soundcore app if you want to take full advantage of all the features that the Soundcore Space A1 have to offer. So now let's jump into the actual performance of these headphones. So first, let's start with the battery life. Soundcore is claiming up to 40 hours with noise cancellation turned on and 55 hours with noise cancellation turned off. Now, normally I'd say that these are bold claims, but in my experience testing Soundcore headphones since their very first over-ears were released, I've come to realize that their headphones pretty much always deliver on those battery claims, and these did not disappoint. Now, in my own testing, I'm going to go ahead and put the numbers right up here on the screen. I tested these both in AAC and LDAC codecs, as well as noise cancellation on and off. So in my testing, I managed to get 42 hours and 24 minutes with noise cancellation on in AAC, and then 39 hours and 7 minutes with noise cancellation on with LDAC. And then I managed to get 58 hours and 36 minutes with noise cancellation off in AAC, and 51 hours and 44 minutes with noise cancellation off in LDAC mode. So overall, the battery life claims here were spot on and very, very good for a set of headphones coming in at such a low price point. Now, the Soundcore Space One charge via USB-C, and they also feature a fast charge option. So if you run the battery all the way down, you can charge these for 5 minutes, and they will give you an additional 4 hours worth of playback time. And the Space One also have an auto shut-off feature that activates after 30 minutes to save your battery. Now, this can be adjusted or shut off in the Soundcore app if you don't want to have that feature turned on. So now let's move over to the transparency mode. And the transparency mode on the Soundcore Space One is surprisingly good. The custom transparency mode slider gives you 5 levels, so you can dial in how much or how little external sound you want to hear. It's always good to see this level of adjustability on a set of noise canceling headphones. And this slider is something I would love to see come to Soundcore's earbud lineup as well. Now, overall, the transparency mode sounds less processed and more natural than before, so it's definitely a welcome improvement. And the Space One also offer wind noise reduction. It works fairly well, but still needs a bit of improvement since it's not doing enough to truly reduce wind noise while in transparency mode. Let's move over to noise cancellation. Now, the Space One have upgraded their ANC strength with 2 times stronger voice reduction when compared to Soundcore's older models. Now, what I can say is that it is surprisingly effective and can compete with headphones at twice the price. Surprisingly enough, these actually outperform the Sony CH720N for ANC power in my testing, both for crowd noise and jet noise. While not as powerful as the flagship Sony XM5 or Bose QC45, the Space One can still hold their own and easily outperform most headphones under $200 for ANC effectiveness. In addition to that, we also get wind noise reduction for the ANC mode, and it's much more effective in this scenario versus being used with transparency mode. So overall, I'm very satisfied with the noise cancellation on the Soundcore Space One. So now let's move over to the sound quality. The Soundcore Space One feature 40mm dynamic drivers. They also feature LDAC codec for high-res audio streaming when used with compatible Android devices, and good quality source audio. Now, all of my own testing was performed using both Apple Music Lossless on AAC on my iPhone and Qobuz High-Res and LDAC on my Asus Zenfone 9, along with some locally stored FLAC and WAV files. Now, the tuning here is what I expected from Soundcore, which is their usual punchy bass with laid-back treble. I use the HearID feature to create a personalized EQ suited to my own hearing. I then applied the piano EQ to my HearID curve to bring the mids and treble forward. For me, this was the best combination for a multitude of genres where heavy bass is not required, but it can still perform. Now, if you're unfamiliar with using Soundcore's HearID feature, basically it analyzes your hearing to create a unique personalized sound profile based on your hearing. If you're unfamiliar with how to EQ headphones, then I strongly recommend using this feature to get the best sound possible with minimal fuss. But if you need bass, be sure to use that bass booster preset. Shout out to my Basshead crew. But let's go ahead and break down the sound. So let's start with the bass. Now the Space One have a strong and punchy bass response with some decent sub-bass rumble here as well. Surprisingly versatile and responds to EQ very well, so you can increase the bass or dial it back as needed for your own personal tastes. And it can dig deep on tracks like Mask Off by Future. Now moving over to the mid-range, it's pretty laid back here out of the box, so I definitely bumped it up to open things up. There is noticeable mid-bass presence here, but it isn't horrible if you like bass in your music. Yes, not all of us want reference sound from our headphones. Shocker, I know. Good vocal performance here as well for both male and female voices. Now listening to Slow Ride by Sublime is a must if you want to hear what I'm hearing. Go ahead and throw in some Amy Winehouse in there as well, just to have all your bases covered. Now, when it comes to treble, it starts off bland, but definitely comes to life with EQ. The piano preset gives the treble a substantial boost, and the Space One have a much more clear sound with solid instrument separation. The treble can get bright with classical or mariachi music with loud horns and strings, but it still, tapers off early enough to not become sibilant or offensive or piercing. Now, when I was listening to Por Tu Maldito Amor by Vicente Fernandez, you have to listen to that song to really hear what I'm talking about, because you want the layering of all these different instruments from the mariachi and the choir of violins coming in. It's going to be something that you want to experience. Even if you're not into Spanish music or into mariachi music, it's still something that you should try out at least once. Now, something new is I want to talk about listening to these headphones via the aux cable or the 3.5mm jack. So when testing them via 3.5mm, the Space One will power themselves down. So there's no DSP or custom EQ available. So they're basically just shut off. The sound is 100% based on the driver's tuning. Overall, it's acceptable, but lackluster. The mids and treble are recessed, and the music is dull and not really enjoyable to me this way. Now, this is decent for videos or watching movies or even some mobile gaming, but music listening just didn't do it for me. Right? It didn't elicit the emotions that I like to feel when I'm listening to my music. However, and don't get me wrong, I still like that this option is here so you can use these headphones after the battery has been completely drained or with products that don't offer a Bluetooth connection. I'm not a proponent of removing the headphone jack from headphones. They should always have a headphone jack. They should always have a cable included so that you can use them this way when needed. Now, when it comes to constructive criticism for the Space Ones, firstly, note the lack of a hard case in the box. I know these are $99 headphones, and a case. You can pick one up on Amazon for 10 or 15 bucks, but still, the bag, it's going to protect them from scratches, but it's not really going to do anything to really protect them if they fall or drop or anything. So that's just me. Maybe I'm being nitpicky here, but it would have been nice to see an actual case in the box. Secondly, I think they really do need to work on the wind noise reduction in transparency mode. Hopefully, if we get any firmware updates for the Space One, they'll have some improvements made there on that feature. So now, one of the questions that I know is going to come up immediately when this video drops is going to be, are the Space One better than the Soundcore Space Q45? The answer to that is no. The Space Q45 is Soundcore's premium model at a higher price point, and they are great for people who want strong noise cancellation and Soundcore's best sound on a set of over-ear headphones. Now, on the other hand, the Space One are Soundcore's strongest noise canceling headphone under $100 and are aimed at people who are more on a budget. They want a stylish, light, and comfortable headphone with a splash of cool features at that low price point. So that's the difference between these two. These aren't meant to be better than the other one. They're just meant to be the Q45's little brother. So let's get into some mic quality tests for people who like to take phone calls with their headphones. Now we're going to test these up against the Sony CH720N, the One More Sonoflow, and the Soundcore Q45. All right, so here we have the microphone test for the Soundcore Space One. So testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, I'm indoors in a semi-quiet room. So testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, so here we have the microphone test for the Soundcore Space Q45. So testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, once again, I'm in a semi-quiet room. So testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, and here we have the microphone test for the Sony CH720N. So testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, once again, I'm indoors in a semi-quiet room. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the microphone test for the One More Sonoflow. So testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, once again, I'm indoors in a semi-quiet room. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Soundcore Space One in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Soundcore Space Q45 in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the Sony CH720N in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So testing, 1, 2, 3. And here we have the One More Sonoflow in a simulated crowd noise environment. So something like a busy bar, a crowded restaurant, or something along those lines. So testing, 1, 2, 3. So with that out of the way, for full disclosure, this video was sponsored by Soundcore, as I said at the beginning of this video. Despite this, Soundcore received no rights for copy or script approval and were not allowed to see this video prior to it being published. They are watching this video at the same time that you are. I'm telling you all of this because I believe in transparency and honesty with you as the viewer. There will undoubtedly be other sponsored videos on these headphones, but not everyone is willing to disclose that as openly as I am. As always, please be sure to watch multiple reviews before making that final purchase decision. If you are interested in seeing which Soundcore earbuds are the best in my opinion, check out the video that I'll leave for you right up here on the screen. With that said, my name is Jefe, and I'm out.